The wood takes shape through the patient hands of a craftsman. The strings stretch taut, the proper tension set. Now the instrument sits ready for fingers to coax out music. So pull up a seat, tap your toes, and snap your fingers. Join in if you're a mind to, because it's time for Pickin. Hi, I'm Bill Landry. Welcome to Heartland Tonight. You find them anywhere, from the front porch to the stage. They may be old or young, gifted or beginners, but wherever you find them, pickers have got to pick. Tonight we go where there's plenty of picking, a celebration of a distinctive instrument. Jam sessions aplenty.
She was 17.
And Harv Donahue shares his passion for music. We begin tonight with an instrument that has an immediately identifiable sound. Its voice echoes the Scots-Irish ballads that our ancestors brought to the southern Appalachians. But the contribution of the banjo to our mountain music comes not from Europe, but Africa.
Banjo's an African word. The instrument that Mangara plays is probably really similar to the ones that were in Africa maybe 8 centuries ago. Skin-headed, plucked lutes came here with Africans that were enslaved.
The banjo recreated by slaves may look different, but these players from the North Carolina Piedmont share the African tradition. It was white entertainers, not black, who launched the banjo into popularity. They found they could sell theater tickets by playing the banjo and imitating plantation slaves.
And that began a rage in entertainment. It was the minstrel day, and it was a very racist, stereotype sort of thing, but it made the banjo one of the most common instruments in American theater.
No one is certain whether it was slavery or minstrels that introduced the banjo to the mountains.
At the time of the Civil War, when mountaineers traveled all over America, and there certainly were minstrel troops playing for the armies, and many people, no doubt, saw the banjo for the first time then and brought it back with them.
Banjo fever spread. It became an instrument for fine Victorian parlors and concert halls. Traveling minstrels made the banjo our first musical export.
There was an English king that studied the banjo, Edward VII. And so in England, all the royalty then played the banjo, and it became quite the fashionable thing to do.
The instrument was so popular that when jazz emerged, the banjo stayed right with it.
The original 5th string was dropped and a resonator added to make the banjo louder. The sound became the rhythm of the riverboat age. The clowning style of hillbilly radio resembled the minstrel show of old, and the 3-finger, 5-string style born here would shape the sound of a region.
Banjo playing has always been a little bit in the background of American music, but it's been here for 400 years, and it's contributed to every kind of music.
In the hands of an artist, the African origins of the banjo seem distant and different. Such is the universal language of music. We'll have more of this gathering of banjo masters when we return. most East Tennesseans, you probably think you're hearing bagpipes, but look again. It's a hurdy-gurdy, an ancient European instrument that's managed to confuse a lot of people through the centuries, but not Glenn Green.
The wheel rubbing against the strings makes the sound. Then the notes are produced by pressing these little tangents up against the two middle strings. The outside strings don't get noted, so they vibrate as drums. And that's the reason it sounds like bagpipes, because bagpipes also have drums. Another instrument has been called a hurdy-gurdy, and it's really a barrel organ. It's the one the man with the monkey traditionally used.
Even though the hurdy-gurdy is a stranger in these hills, Glenn makes it sound right at home. Banjo strings pop and sing in different styles of playing and types of music played at this celebration of the banjo. Banjo music is powerful stuff. It evolved from African roots and endured slavery. From the numbers of players that gathered recently at Cedars of Lebanon State Park, it seems that banjo music plays a part in every kind of music.
We call it the old-time barn dance music, frolicking type of music. My father and his father, they played the same music. We haven't changed it one bit. We learned from them.
I was playing three-finger style banjo, you know, before I heard Earl Scruggs, but when I heard him, it was amazing. I was just learning how to drive a car. I was driving down an old road there in Missouri, in an old 34 Plymouth. And I turned the radio on, and Earl's Breakdown came on the radio. And I got so excited, I just drove right off into a ditch.
Through Doug Dillard, the banjo became familiar to TV viewers. He was one of the darlings on the Andy Griffith Show.
Let it rain, baby falling down. Let it rain, baby falling down. Soon as it hit my window pane, sure enough hit the ground.
The stereotypical portrayal of blacks playing the banjo made American musical icon Taj Mahal shy away from it, until he heard frailing.
But when I heard frailing, that was like, oh, that was real interesting. Because that string was just popping, and it was a kind of a skippity, dippity, dippity, hoppity, hippity kind of sound that just was like, you know, got your blood moving immediately.
Banjo styles are as different as the people who play it, but the one strong common bond is a love of the driving, joyful sound of the instrument itself. For For musicians, the place doesn't matter as long as they can pick, as we'll see when Heartland Tonight continues. The desire to share their music draws a community of pickers to Colonial Village in Knoxville. They come here every Thursday morning to this South Knoxville hardware store, practicing a custom as old as music itself. Gatherings like this help form the sound of Appalachia.
Hey, Gracie, you want to get coffee? Yeah. I got 14 here. You got it, boy. You got it. Heart of treasure, heart of dream. Oh, what joy given me. When troubles come, you're always there to make me smile. Let come what may, thy will be done. I love you, Jesus, God's only Son. Lord, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I owe it all to you, Lord. All I have is you, Lord. Take my life, be what you'd have me be. I'm your child, you're my father. I'm the clay, and you're the potter. Lord, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. Lord, you're the best thing that's ever happened to me. I believe I see a cousin of mine back there. You know what, Gene? Benny, man, you ain't sung one. We'll now feature old Benny. You know, I told you we'd get him married last summer, ever. So he'd suffer like the rest of us. Well, but I don't want you to think that Benny hadn't never been asked to get married. He had his daddy had asked him to get married, his mom had asked him. What are you gonna do, Benny? I ain't found nobody yet. Yeah, that's what
A while back, they moved their weekly gatherings to Fridays at the Vestal Boys Club. Down Roane County way, Tuesdays is the night for music. Every week, this old school fills up with music. Doesn't matter what the weather is or the time of year. Doesn't really matter where you live either. Because in our region, musicians with their instrument of choice will gather most anywhere, anytime, for one reason.
They love music. They just come here to pick. That's all they do. They just pick and sing.
Could be Madisonville, Caryville, Wallen, or Johnson City. On Tuesday nights, the Bradbury Community Center in Roane County hosts. $1 gets you cookies, coffee, and a guitar player in every corner. They play bluegrass, mostly with variations on the theme.
She was 17, the prettiest girl I've seen. But now she's gone away and left me here to dream. Sweet summer smile shone through for a while, but she left me here today, standing in that lane.
We learn the origins of their music.
I'll tell you what, said every Saturday night we'd have a cat killing out here on this mountain. Said we'd run out of cats and we just started playing music.
In this setting, no one's a critic, and newcomers feel welcome.
And then you go 3 on your D. 1.
There's a lot of young children, young people. They got their start right here, and they learn from the older people here.
It is a community, in a sense, created by a shared love of music.
That touches the sky. Where men is born free.
There'll be a circle usually in the hallway, in every room, up on the stage, and people will just kind of mill around, and they'll pick with this group for a while, and they'll pick with that group for a while.
What is remarkable is that on almost any evening, this scene is repeated throughout our region. Other places may claim as many pickers. Yet the music born of this mountain country draws people together like kin, whose saying in the family is, "Let's pick." The love of music fired the hands of Harv Donahue. Next on Heartland Tonight. Harv Donahue made much with his hands, beautiful musical instruments, and the music that flows from them. Once a week, musicians from all over East Tennessee gather in Harvey Donahue's workshop in Powell. They are drawn by the music and by a man who is devoted to the music of his region. Harvey is from Union County, the heartland of country music. Another musician out of Union County.
There's been a lot of them come out of there, but I'm the world's worst, I guess.
Harvey prides himself on being a craftsman, first and foremost, creating the instruments he loves the best. Is there music in all your work?
Well, most of my work is music, some kind. Repairing fiddles or guitars or banjos.
But with banjos in particular, Harvey's craft has indeed reached another realm.
Guitar, just a slick piece of wood, really. And a banjo's you got metal working and wood working and carving and everything, you know, and I like to do that. You can make something pretty out of it. This is maple and ebony and maple, and this is rosewood stripe up the back. I run into a problem. I usually work it out after I go to bed. It always was with me. I could go as far as I could go on a blueprint, I remember, and sleep on it, and the next morning it'd be as clear as it could be.
Though he never went to college, Harvey is a master of invention and engineering. He's designed lunar robot arms, and he worked on the fountain in the National Gallery of Art in Washington. Today his work is as detailed as ever.
Those little instruments over there, they're just same thing as the big ones, except they're scaled down, 1/4 size.
Did you make the wagons too?
Yeah. Yeah, that little one over there has got everything on it, I think, at the head when they went west.
But Harvey's proudest work is in his banjos.
This is what people prefer most, is this fiddle peg head, and this is what they call a double cut. See, it's got a couple of cuts in it there. I believe I got
It's the attention to detail that makes his banjos stand out from all the rest. Even the Gibson Company doesn't use double rods to help keep the neck straight. Remember, all of this work Harvey has done by hand. Inventor, sculptor, metalworker, woodcarver. Harvey Donahue has been all of these in his life. Now he's dedicated his genius and his talent for the love of music.
If you like music, well, you eventually pick it up. Either that or come back to it sometime after you quit work.
Music lifts the spirit and consoles the heart. It gives people a common ground. Among musicians, there's a special bond that's instant. The only introduction, an instrument pulled from its case. Their gift to each other and to us is the music they play. See you next week on Heartland Tonight.